In today's video, a cemetery security guard was working his usual night shift when something happened that left him completely terrified. It was a cold, foggy night, and the cemetery was unusually quiet. Even the wind seemed to have stopped, leaving only the soft crunch of the guard's boots as he made his usual rounds. The security office, a small building near the entrance, was filled with the soft hum of the surveillance system, a set of old cameras, pointed at various paths and corridors between the tombstones. The guard had worked this shift for years. He was used to strange noises, flickering lights, even the occasional shadow caused by overgrown trees moving in the breeze. Nothing ever really scared him. Until this night. Just past 2:45 a.m., the monitor for camera 4 flickered. It was a camera pointed at the main corridor, a long path that stretched down the center of the cemetery, flanked by rows of graves, cracked statues, and ancient mausoleums covered in moss. The corridor itself was always a little creepy, even in daylight. The flickering got worse. At first, the guard thought the camera was just acting up. It happened sometimes. But then, in the middle of the static, something moved. A figure. Small. Fast. It darted across the corridor. The guard squinted at the screen, rewound the footage, and played it back. The shape was clearer the second time. It was a child, barefoot, wearing something white, running across the cemetery path. The guard's stomach tightened. No one was supposed to be there. The gates were locked at sunset, and he had personally done the final sweep of the grounds. He leaned closer to the screen, watching carefully. The child ran halfway across the corridor then vanished. Not behind a tree, not into the shadows. Just gone. The guard's hand shook as he grabbed his flashlight and radio. He had to check. The corridor was empty, silent, but the air felt wrong, heavy, cold. His flashlight cut through the fog, illuminating the old path and the weathered tombstones. Every few steps he glanced over his shoulder, the feeling of being watched growing stronger with each second. Finally, he reached the spot where the child had appeared. Therein, the damp dirt were footprints. Small footprints, barefoot. They led a few feet across the corridor. Then they stopped, like the child had disappeared mid-step. He felt his breath catch in his throat. The silence around him felt thicker now, almost alive. And then he heard it. Laughter. High-pitched, distant, coming from somewhere deeper in the cemetery. The guard spun around, his flashlight shaking slightly in his hand. The beam of light cut across rows of graves, statues, and trees, but nothing was there. The laughter faded, but the feeling that something was still watching him never left. He backed away, heart pounding, returning quickly to the safety of the security office. Once inside, he locked the door and reviewed the footage again, frame by frame. There was the child again, running, but this time, the guard noticed something he had missed before. The child turned its head toward the camera. There were no eyes, just dark, empty sockets. The guard's stomach dropped. The final detail sent chills down his spine. As the child disappeared, a second figure appeared, much taller, standing just at the edge of the corridor, half hidden behind a mausoleum. It was watching the child, or maybe it was watching him. The guard finished his shift early that night and never came back. The cemetery manager later reviewed the footage, but the second figure was gone. Only the child remained. And to this day, no one knows who or what it was. A man was driving down a deserted road in the middle of a dense forest when he saw something strange. A pale woman, dressed in white, standing by the side of the road. It was late at night, and the only light came from his headlights, cutting through the thick fog hanging low between the trees. The road was narrow, cracked, barely maintained, with branches bending low enough to scrape the sides and roof of his car. He had been driving for nearly an hour without seeing a single other vehicle. No houses, no signs of life, just endless trees. The moment his headlights caught the figure, his heart skipped. She stood completely still, half hidden in the fog. her dress long white, stained with mud and torn at the edges. Her skin ghostly pale, almost glowing under the headlights. She was barefoot, her toes sinking slightly into the damp earth. Her hair was dark, tangled, hanging in messy clumps over her face. He slowed the car to a crawl, staring at her. His mind raced for explanations. Was she lost? Injured? Did her car break down somewhere nearby? But something about her felt wrong. She didn't react to the car. She didn't wave for help or even turn to look at him. She just stood there. As the car crept closer, her head snapped upward, sharply, too fast. Her face empty, expressionless. Her eyes wide, too wide, like they were forced open. For several seconds, neither of them moved. Then she took a step toward the car. Her movements were wrong, stiff, disjointed. Her arms hung limply at her sides, but her legs moved forward like they were being dragged by invisible strings. The man's breath caught in his throat. Every instinct screamed at him to leave, but his hands felt frozen on the steering wheel. She took another step, then another, each one faster than the last. And then she ran, straight toward the car, her feet barely touching the ground, her arms jerking awkwardly as if her body didn't understand how to move properly. The man slammed his foot on the gas. The tires spun, dirt and gravel flying behind him as the car rocketed forward, barely missing her. In the rearview mirror, she was still there, running, keeping pace with the car. Her face never changed. No emotion, no sign of effort, just those wide, unblinking eyes locked onto him. The road twisted sharply through the forest, branches whipping against the windows as the car flew forward. His breath was ragged, chest tight, his mind trying to process what was happening. Then she disappeared. One blink, she was gone. For a moment, he almost laughed in relief. But then something whispered from the back seat. A soft, breathy voice. "Why did you leave me?" The man screamed, swerved violently, and barely managed to stop the car before crashing into a tree. He threw the door open, bolted out into the night, and ran into the forest, leaving the engine running and the headlights cutting eerie beams through the mist. Hours later, when authorities found the abandoned vehicle, the driver was gone. But in the back seat, they found a single, wet footprint. Small, barefoot, still fresh. And in the fogged-up rear window, a handprint. A woman hears strange noises coming from the hallway of her apartment building floor. It's late, close to midnight. She's home alone, sitting on her couch, scrolling through her phone, when she hears it for the first time. A faint scratching sound, like someone dragging something heavy or sharp across the floor just outside her door. She pauses the television, holding her breath. The sound stops. Maybe it's just the pipes, or a neighbor moving furniture. Old buildings make weird noises, right? But then it comes back. This time, it's closer. The noise is slower now, deliberate, almost like someone walking barefoot, dragging their heels. Her heart starts to race. She grabs her phone and walks quietly toward the door. The hallway is usually quiet this time of night. Everyone should be asleep. She peeks through the peephole. The hallway is empty, but the sound is still there, faint, distant, coming from further down. Something feels off. She unlocks the door and opens it just a crack, peeking outside. The hallway is dimly lit by a flickering light near the elevator. The walls, usually boring and plain, now seem somehow longer, darker. The air feels colder than usual, almost damp, like a window was left open somewhere. She steps out, looking both ways. Nothing. She's about to go back inside. Thena's shadow moves. At the very end of the hallway, she squints, trying to see through the bad lighting. And that's when she sees it. A figure. Pale. Too pale. Thin. Almost skeletal. It stands there, completely still, half hidden in the dark. Its arms hang unnaturally long, and its head tilts slightly too sharply like a broken doll. It doesn't move at first, but then it starts running. Not walking, not creeping, running, straight toward her. She slams the door shut, locks it fast, and stumbles backward. Her heart is pounding in her ears. The footsteps don't stop. They get faster, louder. The thing is now slamming against her door. The handle rattles violently. It's trying to get in. She backs away, holding her phone, fingers trembling. She wants to call for help, but she can't think straight. And then silence. The footsteps stop. The scratching stops. Everything is quiet. She stands there, heart racing, listening to the silence press against her ears. Slowly, she creeps back toward the door. She needs to know if it's gone. She leans into the peephole. Black. Something is covering the peephole. It's like a hand or something pressed against the glass from the outside. She stumbles back again, pulse racing so fast she feels dizzy. Knife in hand, she stands frozen for what feels like forever, staring at the door, waiting for it to burst open. But nothing happens. Minutes pass. Finally, she works up the courage to look again. This time the peephole is clear. The hallway is empty. The flickering light near the elevator is steady now, perfectly normal. But she knows what she saw. She knows something was there. Later, when she reviews the building's security footage, she finds the hallway camera from that exact time. She watches herself opening the door, stepping out into the hall. But in the corner barely visible, the pale figure is already standing there, just outside the camera's blind spot, watching her. She fast forwards, and right before the camera glitches out, the figure does something chilling. It turns its head toward the camera. It knows it's being watched. Then it runs, directly at her. The video ends. She never opens the door at night again. What do you guys think this was? Let me know your thoughts. Two friends are on their lunch break, standing on the balcony of their workplace. It's a regular afternoon, sunny but quiet, with only a few cars driving by on the street below. The friends are relaxed, talking about random things, weekend plans, annoying coworkers, the usual. One of them is holding their phone, casually filming the view while they talk. The footage captures the street, the sidewalk, and a line of trees swaying gently in the breeze. It's a typical quiet moment. Nothing seems strange at all. Then something moves. At the far end of the street, a figure steps out from between two buildings. At first, neither of the friends really notices. It looks like just a person walking alone. But within seconds, the mood changes. The figure is dark. Too dark. It's not like someone wearing dark clothes, it's more like a moving shadow. The person filming pauses their conversation, zooming in on the figure. "What is that?" one of them mutters. The figure moves closer, stepping into the sunlight, but the sunlight doesn't change anything. It remains completely black, like the light doesn't even touch it. And then they notice the worst part. It has no face, no eyes, no mouth, just a smooth, featureless void where a face should be. Both friends go silent. The way it walks is unnatural. Its arms dangle too low, and its legs bend slightly backward with every step. Its entire posture seems wrong, like it doesn't understand how to move like a person. The friends back up from the railing slightly, still filming. The figure stops, directly below the balcony. It doesn't look up, but somehow, they both feel like it knows they're there. Then its head tilts. The motion is sharp, almost mechanical, like a broken puppet. Its body twitches, jerks sideways, stops again. The friends whisper, "Are we really seeing this?" Suddenly, the figure spins around, walking back the way it can, but its legs move before the rest of its body, like the motion is out of sync. It slips into the narrow gap between buildings and disappears completely. The friends rush inside, still holding the phone, heart racing. They immediately replay the footage. It's all there. The dark figure, the unnatural walk, the faceless head, even the strange, glitchy way it moved. They check online to see if anyone else saw it, but no one reported anything. No cars slowed down. No pedestrians reacted. It was like no one else could even see it. They debated posting the video, who would believe them, but eventually they did. The video went viral, but the responses only made everything more confusing. Some people claimed it was a ghost. Others said it was a shadow person, something from between dimensions. Some even believed it was a glitch in reality. But the friends, they never stopped wondering why it appeared right when they were watching. like it knew it had an audience. For weeks after, they avoided the balcony. Even during the day, they felt uneasy near that railing. Every time they glanced toward the street, they half expected to see it again, standing there, watching, waiting. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories like this, make sure to hit the like button, it really helps the channel. And of course, if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new content. But now tell me, what do you think really happened in this story? Was it just imagination, or was something actually there? Leave your opinion in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video, if you can sleep until then.